Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are coming to you with a translation of a leak if you're being technical, but I will consider it pretty much news because the leak is coming from the same guy who has leaked the upcoming champions and buffs for months by Code Goth. I will leave a link to the original video that is on his channel where he showcases some bits of the fight and the animations and the abilities. The problem is, as we can see, that the abilities are in Russian and none of us really do speak Russian. Well, most of us don't really speak Russian all that well to easily understand what that fight is going to be about. But I have asked a friend, a subscriber of the channel, who speaks both English and Russian quite well, to do his best job to translate for us. It's actually kind of funny because the MCOC terminology and the way it kind of got translated is quite tricky. So if a person who doesn't play MCOC try to translate it, it really comes off borderline ununderstandable, as I know because an alliance mate's wife of mine gave her best shot as well, but it really was a bit tricky to understand. Therefore, we needed somebody who has actual MCOC knowledge and speaks both languages. So anyhow, eventually I did find that person, and here we are. So obviously this is a rough translation. And keep in mind that we are discussing a leak. This has not been officially confirmed by Kabam. So even though this guy has never been wrong in his leaks so far, there is still margin for error, or at the very least chance that some of these things will end up getting changed up. And obviously there might still be some translation errors. Keep that in mind, but I will slowly scroll down the ability list, so you guys can take screenshots if you want, as you want. So I'm gonna focus energy loop. Then we have phase charges and his phase 1. Then we're gonna go to phase 2 and phase 3. So you guys can take screenshot there. And then we have the last phase 4 and the special attacks 1, 2, and actually 3. We cannot see. So here we go, special attack 3, here are special attacks. Very good. So now let's go over those abilities slightly and try and figure out how this fight is going to look like. So first of all, SIG ability, reduce all damage by 90%, is not affected by ability accuracy reduction. Reduced by 75% if Kang has 1 bar of power, reduced by 55% if Kang has 2 bars of power, reduced by 30% if Kang has 3 bars of power. So basically, it's kind of similar to Red Skull in Abyss of Legends, and I know Red Skull is one of the more hated fights, for sure. Always active, immune to miss, power reduction, power steal, power burn. I'm not sure, it doesn't list evade though, so evade champions might still be usable here, which is kind of good, but yeah, immune to miss, and basically power manipulation. With 3 bars, activates immunity to activation of special attacks. So basically, I don't think he can use a special attack. Special 3, unless it's kind of like stated otherwise in the abilities. Because one of his abilities is where he randomly gains 0, 1, 2, or 3 bars of power. And I think he can use his special 3 if he gains 3 bars that way. But we're going to have to see exactly how it works out. After activation of stun, further stun effects are reduced by 0.1 second. So I think that's basically a built-in limber mechanic there. Parry eliminates class advantage. Partially eliminates class advantage. Receives 2700.9 attack while fighting against cosmic class. Okay, fair enough. And then we have this energy loop. At the beginning of the fight, Kang activates timer for 10 seconds, after which randomly chooses 1, 2, or 3 bars of power. 0, 1, 2, or 3 bars of power. When the timer expires, if the opponent has the same amount of energy, can with a chance of 140% receive power charge. If he doesn't receive it or is prevented because of the chance, instead the opponent receives 16,000 direct damage. Doesn't affect by ability accuracy. So I think this is going to be very cool, where you have to match the power you have that Kang would gain. That's kind of tricky, right? Basically, if Kang would gain 2 bars of power, you need to make sure that you have 2 bars of power as well, or you'll take that damage. If Kang is knocked down by special attack for the corresponding same amount of bars of power, energy loop is immediately taken off and the opponent receives power charge. Now that is the key aspect, because these power charges will basically run the entire thing. So these two things is going to be the most important thing in this entire fight. It's going to be kind of like Grandmaster style, where you have to do those missions and earn those blunder charges, whatever, to do the damage. This is going to be very similar. This entire fight is actually going to be very similar to fighting Grandmaster. The Kang chooses a new amount of bars power when they refresh the timer. The chosen amount of power level doesn't repeat until it's possible variant was chosen. So basically, it's going to be unique ones all the time. You can't get 2 level 2s in a row. It's going to be 2, then 1, then 0, then 3, or something like that. Power charges are active for several fights, saved until they would be deleted by other abilities. Cool. The energy loop is paused during all special attacks and also for 3.5 seconds when Kang is hit with a heavy attack. Okay, cool. Phase charges. Kang prepares 4 phases for the fight. The end of the phase sets both champions at 0 power loop, time collapse, and Sleeping Fury are taken down without any effect. Phase charges are active for 9.5 seconds. With transition between phases, both champions can't gain energy and Kang is invincible. So that's again kind of like Grandmaster. Whenever you enter from one phase to another, basically nothing's happening there really. In the first 6 seconds, Kang acts defensively. In the last 3.5 seconds, he becomes very... Yeah, it's exactly like Grandmaster, basically. So first phase, when the opponent has 3 power charges, Kang is under time collapse for 10 seconds. That time collapse is, again, once exactly like Grandmaster, where he's basically stunned and doesn't do anything until time to do damage. During time collapse, Kang is stunned, can't gain energy, and his costume doesn't reduce damage, so there's no damage reduction. Stun doesn't downgrade further stun time. Very good. Besides that, current power loop is taken off without additional effect. For each power charge, opponent receives 25% to his basic attack and 10% to his restoration energy in fight for the abilities. So you're basically going to get extra damage. By the end of the time collapse, power loop chooses the new number of bars of power and opponent loses all power charges. Okay, cool. Phase 2, 90% to 51%. This is kind of the main phase, I suppose. When the opponent has 4 power charges, Kang is under the effect of time collapse for 10 seconds. So basically, this time you need to get to 4 power charges. If the opponent uses the same attack finishing combo, 4th light, 2nd medium, or heavy, 2 times in a row, he has his power reduced by 50% of a bar of power. Okay, so you need to alternate your combo finishers. In phases 2, and this is the most important thing, though, that you're going to be losing power, so it's going to be harder to, use the special attack to gain those charges. In phases 2 and 3, every time when the energy loop chooses 1, 2, or 3 bars of power, Kang receives passive effect of Sleeping Fury in the amount of 50. 1 Fury is taken down every 1 second. If chosen 0 bars of power, he receives the effects of unlimited time active and the amount of 100, and then you will be, you're able to steal those Furies, I think. File, edit window, I'll just delete it. There we go. Phases. Whoopsie. 100. Here we go. This is where we're meant to be. When the opponent receives a power charge, all sleeping effects of Fury are transferred to him. Passive effects of Fury are activated during the time collapse, and each of them gives 4% of basic amount of attack. When the time collapse or phase ending, the opponent loses passive effects of Fury. Basically, you're going to be stealing those Fury and dealing a lot more damage during that time collapse thing. But yeah, this is going to be trickier to do because your power is going to be constantly drained, and you still need to gain those charges by dropping special attacks of corresponding power bars. When the opponent has 6 power charges, Kang is under the effect of time collapse for 10 seconds. So this time you need to get 6 of those power charges, so it keeps increasing. The opponent receives 3% of a bar of power every second. The amount is increased for 3% every time when the opponent activates a special attack. Or this time you're going to be gaining power, so it's kind of reverse. Cost of special attacks for both champions is reduced by 50%. This effect won't work if the special attack cost is already less than 50%. So with Professor X, this will not work. Oh no, against tech champions, it could work actually. But yeah, so basically, it's gonna be spam special phase kind of thing. Everybody's specials are gonna get spammed. Phase 4 to 2%. Sorry, 2% or less. In the beginning, in this phase, Khan's consume starts malfunction and losing energy. Damage reduction raises up to 100% for any attack, but special 3. And both champions' energy is set to 0, power loops taking off completely. Besides, Kang receives 20% of a bar of power every second, and the opponent receives up to 25% of bar of power, depending how close he is to Kang. Kang is unblockable, and he can't use special attack and special 1 and special 2. So this is going to be all about you getting to 3 bars of power very quickly. Yeah, so you're gonna have to like really outpace Kang, the special 3. This is probably gonna be something you really want, like Hyperion or something on your way. But yeah, so basically this is a race to special 3. That's kind of interesting. Special attack 1. Any hit which hits the opponent stuns them for 2.4 seconds. Any hit which is blocked downgrades opponent's energy by 50% of a bar of power and doesn't give them energy at all. Any hit which misses the opponent or is blocked gives them 50% of bar of power. So I think if you evade, you gain half a bar of power. I think that's how it's meant to be. I think if you evade this one, you gain half a bar. Special attack 2. Any hit which hit the opponent or is blocked activates impotence. I don't know exactly what that means, but for 8 seconds. What does that impotence there mean? For a reminder of the impotence, Kang receives 100% of energy which is supposed to be received by the opponent. Oh, that's what it means. It's probably meant to be incompetence or maybe impotence, I don't know. But basically, if you get hit by level 2, then Kang gets all your power for the next 8 seconds. And special attack 3 basically just instantly KOs you. So those are all of his abilities. Again, this is coming from a leak, and it's translated from Russian to English. So there might and probably will be some errors, but it gives a pretty good gist of the general fight, where it's all going to be about dropping corresponding special attacks to gain those charges, to enter him in time collapse and deal as much damage as you can. In other aspects, the fight is going to be very similar to Grandmaster, as in how he shifts from fights to fights, how there are certain missions to do, how the rules of the fight change a bit. And yeah, I very much so look forward to it. Now, I do not think this is going to be week 9 fight. I think this is going to be for the final quest at week 10 and 11. Yeah, so I do not think that this is going to be week 9, because they specifically say that on week 10 we're going to have like a new fight. And I think this is going to be it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons. And I will catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about